My name is Zak Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. Raw. Extreme. These are our ghost adventures.
Hey Shadowlings, welcome back to Paranormal Playback, the podcast where we recap the spooky and entertaining world of paranormal reality TV. I am Charlie Holly.
I'm Mel.
And I am Laura.
So if you're new here, we are three creatives with a lot of opinions and a deep, possibly obsessive love for ghost hunting shows. Each week we break down the episodes you can't stop watching, even if you should, dig into the tech, research the facts, and share our own stories along the way. If you're into things that go bump in the night and trying to make sense of the unknown, you're in the right place. So don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps more ghost-curious skeptics and believers find the show. And if you've got a haunted house or just a haunted ex, we want to hear about it. Okay, so let's get into it. Welcome to Paranormal Playback. This is part 1 of Ghost Adventures Season 1, Episode 7, Edinburgh Vaults.
Okay, first of all, let's have a little lesson on how to properly say this word, okay? I'm so sorry if you're from Scotland. It's Edinburgh.
Okay.
It's not Edinburgh or Edinburgh.
Okay.
It's Edinburgh.
Okay. Edinburgh Vaults, Edinburgh, Scotland, which aired on November 28th, 2008, which also happens to be my father's birthday. So happy birthday.
Did they film anything famous like Game of Thrones or anything in there? Like
In Edinburgh?
Yeah.
So basically anything that has involved monarchy kind of history. So like the Tudors film. So up on the big, and they stand in front of it, up on the big rock, like there's like a big rock, they call it Castle Rock, is Holyrood House. And that's where Mary Queen of Scots was born. And she didn't live there long because she actually like lived in hiding most of her life over in France and then went to England. And the Castle Rock is where the Queen also stays whenever she comes. Queen's dead. Where the king also stays whenever he comes to Scotland. He stays in Castle Rock in Edinburgh. So anything that has that, yes, that castle has been filmed a lot. But Harry Potter, so J.K. Rowling, this is one of those things where I'm like very much separating the artist from the art, you know? It's like super hard for me. She's from Edinburgh and based like diagonally on, like if you go there, you're like, oh, this is Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like you see the little streets, like there's one little street that like Diagon Alley is based on. And it's really cool. It's just like really narrow and the buildings are all like kind of like tipsy topsy wibbly wonky kind of.
Somebody else mentioned that to me, that like when you go there, you literally just suddenly feel like, oh, that's where all of this, like that's where all of it came from.
Part of me was like, this is really cool. And the other part of me was like, oh, that makes it a little less
original.
Special to me because it was depicted after where she lived. But I mean, that's like she still invented a whole fucking world. Like, let me give her a break on like the style of what the buildings look like. But yeah, I actually have been to Edinburgh.
Yes, that's what I thought you had been there. So before we even begin, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize right now to all of the Scots for the accents that we're about to put on during this episode.
I have to like watch a whole season of Outlander before I like feel confident in my.
Mel and I are especially obnoxious about slipping into British accents, and I know for a fact that I cannot do a Scottish accent, so I'm aware that it is very different. But it's going to be hard not to slip into it. So I apologize now, and I'm just completely aware of the foolishness that's about to ensue. Yeah. So sorry, guys. We're in Edinburgh, Scotland. Edinburgh, Scotland. Bruh, like a bra. Edinburgh.
But with like a bro, like how a bro says bruh.
And we are trying to pick up some Edinbros.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh, can we call this Edin-bros?
Yes, please.
Edin-bros. Edin-bros.
Oh, so sorry, Scott. I am so sorry to the Scottish people.
God, I feel like this is just, we're being so American right now.
And I love it.
We are.
And you know what?
American.
People love us.
Honestly, whenever I travel and I see like the really stereotypical tourist, or if I do a really stereotypical tourist thing, I'm like,
All right, so we immediately see Zak aggressively walking towards the camera amongst all the normal-looking Scots people. He's wearing his most Gothic of goth t-shirts, and it looks like he's kind of in a town square of some sort, which may be the place that...
It's so Gothic. It's just like this, you know.
he's on the Royal Mile, I think.
I think it was the photo you just showed us.
Yeah, that's like the famous, it's called the Royal Mile. In Old Town.
And he had like more than one like Gothic cross on his shirt.
I mean,
which was not sequenced, but it had like
metallic.
It's like reflective. The little cross had like the,
I mean, it's
metal.
It's not like true Gothic. It's like Ed Hardy Gothic.
Yeah. It wasn't like cool Gothic.
Yeah, it's like 2008 Ed Hardy Gothic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he tells us that they have traveled over 3,000 miles to Scotland to investigate the underground vaults.
Which I am so proud of him.
He says, before we go in there, we're going to investigate its dark history and why it's labeled as one of the most haunted places in the world. I can't wait to hear this old haunt versus Zak's drunk history version of the facts.
He did also, I love that he was like, we're here by these craggy cliffs.
Uh-huh. I was like, oh, who taught you that word?
Not the craggy cliffs.
All right, Mel, you know what to do. Let's get into this old haunt.
Hold on.
Are we doing a wardrobe change?
I don't know what just
Sorry.
How dare you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have my tartan on.
Sorry.
For those
my family tartan.
For those who are listening, Lauren was correct. Mel just put on some smart-looking specs and a tartan scarf around her neck, and now she's holding a candelabra with a candlestick in it.
But what about second breakfast? That's how I have to get my trigger words.
Breakfast.
But what about second breakfast? Mary Pippin something. I'm gonna slip into my Irish accent.
Mm-hmm.
But what about second breakfast?
What is that reference from? I need to know.
Do neither of you know?
No.
Okay. Also, this is just like a thing I do. I make really obscure quotes that like very few people get, but when they do get it,
it hits real hard when they get the quote.
Real hard. Yeah. Like when I say, "I'm only here for the food, mother," and at a buffet table, and people get it. Anywho, this is from Lord of the Rings, so it's like when they're Merry and Pippin or they're out somewhere and they're like, eat this, and he's like, it's all you get all day, and he's like, but what about second breakfast, supper, dinner, Levensies? He names like all the so
you know what, I have not seen Lord of the Rings since it was in theaters.
So earlier than this came out, because that was like 2002.
Yeah, so I mean I saw all the Lord of the Rings, but I saw them in theaters, so like I have not rewatched them.
Oh my god, you should. Have you seen any of The Hobbit?
I don't know.
That's a no then.
Yeah, that's a no.
Okay. Wow.
But I need to because I love those movies.
You should.
So.
Yes. They're great. And then you can say, what about second breakfast?
Yeah.
All right, shadow people. That was really Australian.
Yeah, that was...
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate. You threw me off with your good day, mate.
Creaky.
Okay. All right, shadow people. Pack your kilts and questionable night vision cameras because tonight we're time traveling under the streets of Edinburgh, a city famous for its bagpipes. Insert bagpipes here, Charlie. Whisky, and apparently vaults full of ghosts who just can't seem to mind their own business. Today, we're swapping abandoned asylums for dripping stone tunnels where the air's rank, the history's grim, and if you hear footsteps behind you, no, you didn't. Mr. Boots just wants to borrow a kidney or your soul. So lace up your Doc Martens, hold your whiskey tight, and watch your head. This old haunt is descending straight into Edinburgh's haunted underbelly. Just don't forget which way is out. All right, so picture this. We've got narrow stone tunnels buried under centuries of cobblestones. There are low arch ceilings that drip with cold condensation and rough sandstone walls that are slip and damp from the cold. Passages twist
Wait, can you? What was the word you just said?
Slick.
Slick. I thought you said slippin' dick, and I was like, what
there's probably some of that going on down there too at one point.
Actually, that's
Sandstone walls, slipping dick from the cold.
slippin' dick and slick.
Yeah.
I feel like are synonyms.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. So some where was it? Oh yeah, slick and damp.
Mm-hmm. Not slippin' dick.
Let me pop my P's. Not slipping dick. Slick. No, what the fuck am I saying? Okay. From the cold. Passages twist and dead end like the world's creepiest maze. Some chambers feel barely big enough for two people to stand shoulder to shoulder, while others open into echoing vaults with soot-stained ceilings from illegal whiskey stills that once kept the poor drunk man guessing. Rusty metal hooks and bricked-up doorways were left behind when the merchants bailed and the criminals moved in. It's cold, claustrophobic, and every step feels like you're walking deeper into a place you probably shouldn't be. All right, so the Edinburgh Vaults, sometimes called the Southbridge Vaults because they are under the South Bridge, which, side note, I went here and I don't think I ever knew that. I very likely walked over this bridge and didn't realize it was a bridge because it just feels like a street.
That's what I was going to ask you, is if you even knew that this was there when you were there.
I need to look at a map and see where it is in relation to the Royal Mile because we went to Greyfriars, which is the cemetery they go to. So I must have walked on it. So I just was not aware. Or maybe Megan said something. I was like, oh, there are vaults under here, and we weren't gonna. The only vaults we almost did were the catacombs in Paris. But
yeah,
And what makes a vault? What's the definition of an actual vault?
I mean, they said interchangeably vault, chamber, and room.
Mhm.
So I don't know if
think
they're
a
using
vault
the
has,
literal term.
3 walls and then a sealed door,
Mm.
right? A vault is something you seal something in.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Yeah.
making this up.
Yeah, but how's that different from a room or a chamber?
Well, a room can have angles, and
A vault can't have angles.
A room can have multiple doors. I guess I'm just thinking
Are
a
you
vault
saying,
has one lockable door, like a safe.
Are you saying more sealed?
Except these didn't have sealed entry. They had one big entry. They
Maybe
had one
they called them
big
vaults
door.
because they were sealed up. Let me look. Now I want to know the definition of a vault.
A large room or chamber used for storage, especially an underground one.
That's
Okay.
weird.
So I thought
A cellar or basement or crypt.
Yeah.
Or undercroft.
I just don't think in America we just don't use the word that way.
Catacomb, cavern, tomb. Okay. Does not matter how many walls it has. All right. Sometimes called the Southbridge Vaults, they're a series of chambers built in the late 1700s beneath the South Bridge in Edinburgh's Old Town. When the bridge opened in 1788, the city needed storage as well as workspace. So naturally, they built spooky basement vaults, sealed them up with stone, and promptly forgot about them, except for all the people who didn't. The bridge itself has 19 arches, and each of those arches hold specific vaults. They were intended for storage, small workshops, and taverns. They were built by a man named Robert Kay, the city surveyor, but the overall Southbridge project was planned by the Edinburgh city planners and approved by the city council to handle rapid population growth. Originally, these vaults did house tradesmen, taverns, cobblers, and storage for shops above. But, guess what happens when you build poorly ventilated underground rooms in the 18th century Scotland? Well, mold, crime, and misery. Within a few decades, the legit businesses fled upstairs, leaving the vaults to everybody else. The construction of these vaults was really cheap and rushed, so they weren't sealed properly against Edinburgh's notorious rain. The water seeped in, ventilation was poor, and the conditions quickly became damp, dark, and unsafe. By the early 1800s, after those businesses left, the vaults became sort of an unofficial underground slum. The poorest people of Edinburgh, the homeless, immigrants, and outcasts took shelter here. illegal whiskey stills operated to avoid the high taxes, which, by the way, I did learn in Scotland. We went to Oban, which is a whiskey and a town. It means Little Bay. And we went to the distillery there, and their tax that they pay, guess what the tax they pay is on the whiskey, or on the whiskey. Did I say whiskey? Scotch. I'm so sorry. It was Scotch. Yes.
Okay.
Like 40%.
80.
80% tax.
80%.
80. At least it was in like 2017.
That's crazy.
Anywho, they did illegal whiskey stills. Oh, that's why I said whiskey, because they said whiskey, to avoid high taxes. So in general, these vaults were linked with petty crime, gang activity, prostitution, and dangerous living conditions. The city authorities sealed them off by the mid-19th century to curb disease and illegal use. Crimes and notorious names, which we'll go into a little bit after this, are Burke and Hare, which were Edinburgh's most infamous body snatchers, and they may have used the vaults to stash stolen corpses from medical schools. A lot of gangs ran illegal bars down there, and rumor has it some victims were lured in and never came back out. Children sometimes like to play in the vaults, and they used to crawl through tight passages, and some just didn't crawl back, which is a few grim stories about that.
You said it was sealed off in the 19th century?
In the late 18th century. Oh, in the 19th, yes, sorry.
I thought that they sealed them off
1800s.
Oh,
they opened them up in the 90s.
But they sealed them off in the late 1800s. Okay. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got it.
So I was about to get into that. So the vaults were mostly forgotten until the 1980s, when excavations by local groups like Norrie Rowan, who was a rugby player and a local businessman, reopened them. He himself, Rowan, famously helped political refugees hide there in the 80s. They became a popular site for tours, and especially after ghost stories gained traction in the 90s and 2000s. Obviously, paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures, Most Haunted, etc., and countless ghost tours have fueled lots of legends. Today, the vaults are run by multiple tour companies, some focusing on history, others on ghost stories. Some make you hold a spooky candelabra as you walk through the vaults. But they're one of Edinburgh's biggest underground tourist draws. What a weird category. Like, it's our biggest underground tourist draw. How many of those do you have? They have guided tours nearly every night.
Oh, interesting that they do them at night.
Mm-hmm. I know. You would think, like, what's the point?
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dark in there.
Nighttime.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like a part of the lure, you know?
In terms of paranormal claims and hauntings, we have number 1, Mr. Boots. Mr. Boots. Oh, I can do that. Let me just like tap into my Mike Myers and adjust it. Mr. Boots, who and what? The vault's most famous resident ghost, often described as a tall, shadowy male figure wearing old heavy boots, hence the nickname. I think that's the best I can do. He said to stomp around loudly.
Okay, have you seen So I Married an Axe Murderer?
No.
Another
Also very sad that there have been enough of those cases to where they started a show about it. But
No, Mike Myers. It's a comedy.
It's a movie, right?
I thought it was a reality show.
No, Mike Myers is they're Scottish.
Oh, is this the one where he is the Shrek character before? This is like old. Before he was Shrek.
Like what it was based.
I mean,
off
he
of?
is Scottish in it, but he's like.
Because there's a movie Wright watched one time where I was like, "What? Why is Mike Myers just being Shrek? He's just being Shrek."
I mean, he is kind of Shrek. Because his dad is like, he's like, Heath, Puds, no. But he has that Scottish accent. So they're like playing the
accordion.
Yeah.
The accordion.
What
The
is that
bagpipes?
The bagpipes. Sorry.
The hand movement was saying accordion.
I was like,
the bagpipes. Sorry.
Yeah, it's more of like a very subtle finger and like blowing. All right. So the vault's most famous resident ghost, often described as a tall, shadowy male figure. Mr. Boots is our new shadow man. He's wearing old heavy boots. And the nickname, he's said to stomp around loudly, push people, throw stones, and sometimes growl or whisper threats.
Sounds like my ex.
Some guides say he was a cobbler or a criminal who attacked people in the vaults, but there's really no confirmed real life identity of this Mr. Boots. Many of the ghost tours tend to build their finale around the chamber nicknamed Mr. Boots Room. Guests often report feeling cold spots, seeing dark shapes, or hearing loud footsteps. That shouldn't echo that way. And then we have the Watcher. That was Irish. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what comes out of my mouth. I
don't know the difference between the Irish and the Scottish accent.
Oh, they're very different. If you heard that, like, Irish is a little more sing-song. It has like a lilt to it. And their A's are taller. Like, we're walking down Canada Water.
Uh-huh.
Versus like, we're walking around Canada Water. I am so sorry that I am horribly. But it's
you're
like
doing a really good job to us, though.
But like, I don't know. Irish is more sing-songy and like, there are a lot more like, I want to say the consonants are really prominent in Scottish. It's kind of this is my take on it. Again, please, to our 13 listeners in Ireland, again, I apologize. And please let us know what you think are the big differences. I don't think
Especially
we have any Scottish listeners, but I guess they would fall under United Kingdom. So,
especially if you're a lumberjack.
Oh, wait, I think I can see.
Come teach us. Specifically me.
Come teach Lauren how to speak with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, invite us and we'll hang. Oh my God, yeah, we can like have a drink, hang out,
investigate,
and like go to some cemeteries or something.
Yeah,
maybe like an old friary, whatever. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, the Watcher is a less aggressive spirit. He's a male figure that people claim they see peering around corners and doorways. So he's a spooky peeping Tom, if you will. He apparently just stands. Yeah, he's a peeping shadow. No, I don't think he's a shadow person. It says he's an aggressive spirit that people see peering around corners and doorways. He apparently stands just out of reach, silently observing groups from the shadows, never moving closer.
I think peepers are shadow people, though.
Oh, well, he's blamed for feelings of dread or the sense of being followed deep into the vaults. No clear backstory. Could just be layers of urban myths. There are a bunch of child spirits. So, as I mentioned before, children used to go play in the vaults and they would not come out. So, multiple reports over decades share child ghosts in the vaults. Some tours say they hear children's laughter, small shadow people. Hey, you shouldn't be listening to our show.
No. Also, no.
Without parental advisory.
Wait.
Small shadows.
I need clarification. So, you said like actual children went into the vaults and did not come out alive.
They just didn't come out.
But did some of them I'm assuming live down there?
Unalived? Like
no, they I took it as they went and played down there and they got lost or fell or
so like they went in alive,
taken maybe, I don't know.
And they came out and they didn't come out. Okay.
But this was when there was like the illegal activity going on down there.
Yeah, this is like we're talking like 1880s. Yeah. So little shadow people and people get the feeling of a tiny cold hand grabbing theirs.
Poor
the link
buddies.
There is that the vaults did once also they were shelter to Edinburgh's like poorest, including families and street kids, some who supposedly never made it out. Additionally, there were a lot of Irish refugees that came over because of the potato famine, and they did stay in the Edinburgh Vaults. So psychics have also claimed to sense the presence of a little boy named Jack, who's said to tug at people's clothes.
Aww. Little Jack.
Also, I can't remember if we've said this, but the potato famine was not about a lack of potatoes.
It was the disease of the potatoes?
No, it was actually more of like the, I can't remember if it was like a Catholic versus Protestant thing. It was a rich people not giving, like taking all of the supplies.
All they had left to eat was like potatoes.
They didn't have anything left to eat.
Yeah.
They have these houses that are left behind from the potato famine in Ireland that it's very spooky. They're just these houses that are like frozen in time and they're left there almost as like a memorial to those who lost their lives in the potato famine because of how like the church came over and just took all of the resources, leaving everyone to starve to death.
Gotcha. So they were more worried about like padding their pockets than
Yeah.
feeding their own people.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like the country we live in today. Beep boop boop.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the vaults are actually heavily linked to the story of Burke and Hare, who were the notorious resurrectionists who murdered 16 people in the East to sell fresh corpses to Edinburgh's medical school, because there is like the University of Edinburgh right in the old town as well. So it's a very young town. You got like the castle and the college. Some say that they use the vaults to stash bodies or lure their victims. There's no solid historical proof, but the legend's a little sticky. And plenty of visitors swear they've seen fleeting shapes or heard dragging noises in the dark. Next, you got your classic poltergeist activity.
Sorry, I wanted to pop in and just mention there's another podcast called Buried Bones with Paul Holes.
Oh, Holes. I gotta watch that movie.
Paul Holes, though, and I forget the woman's name, but they do a really good history of Burke and Hare. So if you're interested in learning more about the body snatching, it's very educational.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll do a This Old Haunt on Burke and Hare.
Yeah.
There are a
think
lot
you
of them
should.
that would spin off from this one, though.
Yeah.
So they killed them and they snatched. I didn't realize they killed them.
They lured them. It was literally like a Charlie Goes to Candy Mountain, like Burke and Hare, Candy Mountain, Charlie. Oh, they took my kidney, but instead, they killed me and took my body.
They started with, I believe it was like they started in the graveyards, but they couldn't keep up with the demand.
bodies.
So then they were like, well, maybe we have to get some fresh ones to keep up the demand.
Classic poltergeist activity, such as objects moving, pebbles are being thrown. There were sudden scratches or bruises appearing on visitors, as well as cameras malfunctioning and temperature drops. Lots of EVPs and shadow figures. Hey, shadow people. Disembodied voices and muttering growls, or even phrases like, get out. Some guides claim to have been shoved or scratched by an unseen force or seen Mr. Boots charge at groups who provoke him. I wonder what he looks. Oh, they said they could see his face and he has no eyes, which I'm like, what?
I mean, Mr. Boots, though, he sounds pretty cute.
Mr.
To
Boots.
me.
I wrote the same. That's so British. Like they especially like the English love to name things like silly words. Like they call that the skyscraper the walkie-talkie or the tibbly wibbly. Like they like to name things.
Mr. Boots.
Fibbly wibbly.
Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots being like this demon with like no fucking eyeballs is so.
Mhm.
It's like the demon in
sounds so
Pan's.
charming. You know?
Yeah. Like the demon in Pan's Labyrinth. I can see them calling him like,
My God.
oh, that's just Larry. Oh, hey, Larry. Or like,
Yeah. Which is
Hansy
terrifying.
Flamsy. His name is Hansy Flamsy.
Like, which is a terrifying
Yeah.
demon.
I
You
kind
know?
of like that now. I like just like a lighthearted take on the world. We could use a little more of that here. We're too fucking serious.
Yeah. Mr. Boots. Sounds,
Mr. Boots.
well, Puss in Boots.
Yeah,
Reminds me of,
yeah.
like Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
His,
you know?
his wee little boots.
Yeah.
And then there's this apparent ghost who's aggressive towards pregnant women.
Which is weird.
Which is weird. The claim is that some guides and
Okay, my
investigators.
thing is, who made the determination that he's aggressive towards
Well,
pregnant women?
supposed to be a woman who is
she-
aggressive because she lost her baby.
And
But
she died during childbirth is apparently the story. So she lost her child and herself during kind of the slum era. It's apparently hostile towards pregnant women specifically, but some feel a certain pain, sickness, or emotional distress if they're pregnant or postpartum. And then there's no really documented historical case to pin this to. It's kind of more of an urban legend. But
so
my thought on this
specific.
one is if okay, let's think about it. You are hyper aware of smells when you're
Mhm.
pregnant, right? Think about how sensitive you are to smells, and you're in what has been described as like a dark, musky, damp, smelly vault.
And
That would
also,
make you
like,
sick.
how many times, are you feeling weird things?
Yeah,
Like,
or like intrusive thoughts
you're-
when you're pregnant.
And how many times are you having those Braxton, whatever,
Hicks, yeah.
Hicks contractions?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I
it's a story.
feel like it could be something. But yeah, that was my first thought too. Was like you're in the
I
basement.
don't know why she would be so mean to pregnant women. You
That,
know, like that
and
feels.
doesn't track.
Here's the thing. What, there are 4 floors underneath the ground? There's
Yeah,
4
that's what I was
floors?
just gonna say. Like the pressure
That's a
you
lot
could
of
feel.
pressure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
That makes sense if pregnant women are feeling a certain
Mm-hmm.
type of way when they're there.
But what didn't make sense to me about it was that why, like, if she lost her baby in childbirth and lost her own life in childbirth, why would she be so angry at pregnant women? Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't she want them to be able to survive?
I
Like,
don't know.
that's the part
I
that
can see her
never
being
tracked.
jealous, but
Yeah.
she was pregnant. I can see her being more pregnant of mothers with children than like
Yeah,
pregnant women, because
exactly. Or you
Yeah.
would think she'd be like maybe motherly to the little shadow people that are there.
My thing, yeah.
little shadow people.
You would think that like she would want to be more protective.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess you don't. Here's the thing. You don't know this person, how they were in life. They could have been, we're assuming this person was a good person in life.
Yeah.
Right. She could have been
And also, it was
bitter.
the slums. She was probably like really pissed off. Life sucked.
Because the thing is like they are carrying the energy in life as they are in death.
Yeah. Also, childbirth was like, you just like really died all the time.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah.
And
Like,
giving
man.
the dirty conditions down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no telling.
Sure, she was like,
what was her
"Fuck
job?
this."
Was she a sex worker and that's how she got
Yeah.
pregnant? Like, there's so
Yeah.
many questions. It probably wasn't good if she was living down there.
Okay. So when Edinburgh's South Bridge opened in 1788, the city leaders wanted it to be christened by a local respected figure. So they chose this well-known elderly woman named Mrs. Auld, spelled A-U-L-D, like Auld Lang Syne. That's how you spell that, right?
Yeah, AULD.
Yeah. Who was the oldest resident of the Old Town. Can you imagine if you were the oldest resident of Old Town named Miss Auld?
No.
But
I guess
Black
that is why they chose her for this.
well, she was
activity.
supposed to be the first to cross the bridge when it opened, but you know, in true Old Town's old Miss Old, she died the day before the grand opening. So rather than change this symbolic first crossing for this city leader, I don't know how she's a city leader. I guess she's just old enough, but her coffin went across the bridge instead, making the first crossing a literal funeral procession.
Yes. Okay. That was not how, and we'll get into it, but that's not exactly how they explained it in the episode.
Yeah,
like,
people do claim that is like cursed the bridge with bad luck.
I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, so it's like a local legend, but it's funny. I mean, I think they should have focused way more on the fact that like Miss Auld was the oldest lady in Old Town.
Yeah, they never mentioned that part. That didn't come up.
So they hype up Mr. Boots, who ran the vaults like a gang boss. Child spirits, torture, and murder. There's like a random little bit about satanic rituals. I guess some paranormal tours mentioned alleged witchcraft or rituals activity in the... I'm going to let you guess the decade, Charlie. What decade do you think they...
1980?
1980s and 90s, when the vaults were reopened. But again, urban legend, no documented cult bust here. And then, yeah, we mentioned the poltergeist attacks. So the last little bit of colorful legend is that some of the ghost tours say that the vaults connect by tunnel to the Greyfriars Kirkyard. Kirkyard is just graveyard, or other hidden passages under Old Town. That's mostly just stories. The vaults were sealed chambers under the bridge, not like a secret catacomb network like you see in France.
Yeah, I didn't get the impression that they were like connected to the graveyard.
No, they're only 16. You know, it's like 16 arches. 16.
Yes.
So the modern rediscovery did involve people kind of squatting and using the vaults for kind of shady deals. So that's kind of classic abandoned place, whatever.
Right.
But there was no confirmed serial killer lair in the vaults, just the Burke and Hare connection by association. The vaults as like this dark energy trap because of centuries of crime and mystery. There weren't actually any like proven ritual murders, human sacrifice, or like cult activity. So the last thing was when it was rediscovered. So in the 1980s, that local rugby player we mentioned named Norrie Rowan and his son were cleaning out the vaults under his pub, the Bongo Club.
The bung.
They found this bricked up passageway and lower chambers filled with centuries of rubble and trash. The digs became kind of the basis for the first modern tours, and Rowan actually famously let Romanian rugby player Christian Raducanu hide there while escaping the communist regime.
Wow.
So you might also hear stories about the vaults sheltering refugees. The first organized public tours and proper archaeological digs really kicked off in the 1990s. Which is why ghost shows say not discovered until the 90s.
Got it. Because that was something they misspoke a few times. It was like at one point they said 1988, and then they were like, not until 1990s. And I was like,
yeah,
that's not what you said before.
So that's the real story under Edinburgh. Turns out if you stack crime, damp stones, and drunk Victorians under a city long enough, you get a haunted basement people pay to stand in. Are the vaults haunted? I don't know, maybe. But maybe it's just centuries of terrified tourists that have just built the world's most profitable echo chamber. But hey, if you like paying 20 quid, see that? I'm like, in the now I said quid. If you like paying 20 quid to get poked by a draft and screamed at by a man in cargo shorts, hey, Edinburgh's got you covered. So drink up your scotch, tip your tour guide, and try not to trip on the way out. Because down here, the only thing scarier than the ghosts is realizing you paid actual money to stand in a damp basement and scare yourself for fun. Cheers to that, shadow people. Clinky, clinky,
Clink, clink.
clink, 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 clink.
Yeah.
And until wait,
Oh.
clink, clink. I was cheersing and Charlie ruined my punchline. It'll never work now. It'll never land.
No,
Everyone
we'll do it over. Do it again.
Whatever. It's not going to be the same. Cheers to that, shadow people. And until next time, I'll see you in the shadows or at the nearest pub.
Cling, cling.
Yay!
Yay! Well, I'm surprised. For the most part, I think Zak and his interviews were somewhat accurate. So
You did a really good job. The only one I really had like a qualm about was Mr. Boots when they said like there was a prostitute that lied here that he killed. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That must just be like an urban legend.
You couldn't find any documentation that they had found a body down there?
I'm sure they found a body, but there was no proof of a Mr. Like they named him Mr. Boots because it sounded like boots scuffling. There's no like, I'm sure there were plenty of men who died down there from shady dealings, but
I had a few thoughts on it, but I'll save it for when we actually get to him. But so Zak tells us that Edinburgh is a tale of two cities, with the above ground being medieval buildings and craggy cliffs, and the underground being a maze of 18th century empty vaults. Once filled with the poor and the criminal are now filled with mysterious forces.
Dun dun dun.
So they interview a Scottish lady wearing a pink coat.
Aren't they all Scottish ladies?
Yes, but this is specifically a Scottish lady.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's a lady. Like an official lady? Her husband's a lord?
No, she's just a Scottish woman. She could be a poor woman. I
really
don't
going
know.
to say every person we talk to in Scotland is Scottish.
I am. No, actually, I didn't. The reason I said she was okay, let me explain. The reason I said she was a Scottish woman is because they do not give her a title card until they show her for like the 7th time.
Yeah, they're still learning their lower thirds.
That is why I was like, okay, so she is the Scottish lady who's wearing a pink coat is what I wrote, because I was like, I don't know how else to identify this person because she's not identified yet.
Yeah.
So she talks about
like all the names. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. She talks about how there are manifestations in those rooms and corridors. And then another lady who I believe was just like a random person that they interviewed on the street says, I'm a psych. Wait, okay, Mel, can you do us the honors? Can you try to do this in a Scottish accent?
God, let me use my trigger words.
I'm a psychic.
Nah.
Yeah.
I won't go down there. No, that's Irish. That was Irish. I won't go down there. I won't go down. I don't know how they say there.
There.
What are you doing? I won't go down there. I'm a psychic. I won't go down there.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. I think I can get a couple of words. I don't know how they would say psychic.
I think that's pretty close. But that's what she says. She says, I'm a psychic. I won't go down there. I basically just
feel free to
mimicked
tap
Mel.
me for any moments.
So Joyce Clark, who is a historian, she explains that Southbridge
She's a Scottish historian.
She is also a Scottish historian. She explains that the South Bridge was built in 1788 to span the valley. So Joyce Clark tells us that there is a bridge that was built on 19 stone archways, and then floors and ceilings that were put beneath those archways, which created the vaulted chambers that you see today. So the chambers were meant to be used as a storage area for the shops being built on top of the bridge. So it basically sounded like basements, or like in New York City, there's a lot of cellars below the buildings where people
those
shop
things are
owners
so
can keep
cool,
things,
but also terrifying because you walk over them.
Yeah, and the iron gates on them are all rotted through.
Yeah,
so it's scary to walk on them. But yeah, so I guess they were intended to be like that, but it doesn't seem like they were used like that for very long. So now we meet Roger Priest, a guide for the vaults. Roger. And he explains that you'd have silversmiths, goldsmiths, bookbinders all along the bridge. But what happened then, for various reasons, is that a lot of these respectable businesses moved out of the area, and that paved a way for more quote unquote social businesses to move in. So things like gambling dens, drinking dens, various illegal clubs, and I wrote AKA brothels because he was very cagey about what he meant by illegal clubs, but I was like, I'm assuming it was a lot of sex work. So now we have Jody Stalker, who is also a guide at the vaults, and I was like, ooh, Jody Stalker, that's a unfortunate
what a name.
last name. It's like, that doesn't sound great. Jody tells us that the vaults were a very sad place to be. All of the undesirables of society moved down there and likely died down there. So these people all work for Mercat Tours, and we meet Des Brogan, who is the author and founder of Mercat Tours. And so I didn't Google this, but my assumption was that when we say author, we're talking about the author of the guidebook or of the maps or whatever it is that explains the history and shows people how to get around in the vaults. Did I bother to look it up? Absolutely not. So he explains that the Irish, like Mel said, came over in the 80s after the potato famine in Ireland. These people could not afford to live in the houses, so they had to live in the slum areas under the bridges. Zak colors this commentary with, not only did the poor and disadvantaged move in, but so did the predators, which he said it as if this was something unusual or something shocking. And I was like, this only makes logical sense because we see this happen time and time again in society, where when people are in disadvantaged situations, they are more likely to become prey to violence and are not as protected as wealthier classes. So it shouldn't be shocking that there were predators down there.
Mm-hmm.
We jump back over to Roger Priest, who says, we've also got the resurrection men as well. So back to what you were saying about they use cute terms for things. I love the term resurrection men. He continues, what you might know as body snatchers. I was like, resurrection men sounds so miraculous and lovely. Your body snatcher, which sounds so aggressive. I was like, these are very different terms. Anyway, so
Okay.
As Roger's explaining this to Zak, we see Roger practically leaning up against a rock wall, while Zak has one arm outstretched next to him and one arm on his hip. It almost looks like the type of stance a guy takes in a movie when he's trying to hit on a girl at her locker. It was a very strange choice for Zak to interview a person in, and it was a very intimidating stance. It looks like he just slammed the guy's locker door shut. And he's trying to intimidate him. I was like, why are you standing like this? It's so bizarre.
It is quite odd.
So I guess Roger Priest was not intimidated by it, but it stood out to me. Joyce Clark explains that because the vaults were so close to the graveyards and also in proximity to the medical school, it would make sense that the body snatchers had stored their bodies down there. And Mel, I think this is possibly where the confusion came in about like the graveyards being connected.
Because it was like a deep vault.
Well, because they kept the bodies down there and they also robbed bodies from the graveyard. But I think they just did that in the middle of the night and then stored them in the vaults and then went back down there and got them to bring them to the medical school.
Yeah. It was just a stop on their bigger story. It wasn't like the main.
Yeah. It was a convenient location because it was kind of right in between the two things. So the doctors and surgeons would buy these bodies and use them for medical research. Roger Priest says that around 1840, the criminals had had enough of the place because the conditions were awful. This was interesting to me because it sounds more like they may have had enough of it because all of the Irish started moving in. Because he also said that the Irish moved in there around the 1840s, and that was around the same time that all the criminals started moving out. So he didn't go into that detail, but I was like, it's interesting that those two things were around the same time. And maybe they felt like they were going to be found out because the people moving down there weren't necessarily criminals. So they moved out and the business owners didn't want anybody else using these vaults. So they ended up filling them with rubble to close them off. Zak explains that the vaults then remained sealed for over 100 years. And in 1988, a local landowner crawled underneath his building. And I'm assuming this is the people at Bongos.
Yeah. Yeah. The Babalu. Yeah.
The Babalu people. So a local landowner crawled underneath his building and discovered the forgotten chambers. This then caused a renaissance of sorts with the vaults and renewed interest in them. Zak asks Joyce if she believes in any of the paranormal lore associated with the vaults. She tells a story saying, when I first started with Mercat tours, I did not believe in ghosts at all. However, 6 years of being a guide and going down into the vaults have changed my mind about that sort of thing. Jody Stalker says, you can go down there and feel absolutely safe, but then other times you can go down there and just feel something's not right. So now we meet Mark Turner, who is an eyewitness. He says, I have to say it's one of the most active places that we've ever been in terms of physical phenomena. When I went into the vaults, I felt sudden feelings of dizziness. I felt faint, felt very unwell. Then when I was taken out of the vaults, these feelings disappeared very, very quickly. So now we meet another guide for the vaults. Her name was Nicola Wright. She explains that there is a spirit in the cobbler's room, a woman who sits across from the cobbler and that is quite malevolent. It's particularly antagonistic towards pregnant women. So this goes back to what we were saying, where it doesn't really make sense that she would be so angry towards pregnant women. But I mean, then you have to question, like, is that what she's upset about? There could be a lot of layers. Like, there's a lot of assumptions there. So the pink coat lady from the beginning tells us that there is a very young woman there who is no more than 20 years old. She's dressed from head to toe in black, very angry, always tearing at her clothes, tearing at her hair. She told psychics that she lost a child, but how she lost the child, we don't know. So that's also interesting. Because like we were saying earlier that she supposedly had died in childbirth. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know if that was what I ever wrote down. So I'm wondering if that was just the lore, but that's not the lore that they were told in the episode.
Seems like there were like a lot of child situations in the vaults over the centuries. So it would make sense that, like, you know, you have like multiple women probably died in childbirth down there, especially if there was like prostitution going on. But yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting. So Nicola explains that she's been doing the tours for 20 years and she was 6 months pregnant with her second daughter. She heard crying coming from that corner, very loud crying. She didn't see anything, but then had a violent urge to be sick. She got her tour group out and became very sick. This happened to her 3 times in that month alone. She does go on to clarify that she had no sickness in her pregnancy except for those 3 occasions, which could have been demon presence, scary lady antagonizing her, or it could have just been she didn't respond well too. Although I wonder how frequently she was going down there if she worked there. And I wonder if she heard the crying every single time.
Yeah. And she said she was only, this was where like the smell thing came in for me. Like she said she was only sick in the tunnels.
Yeah.
Probably because it smelled and like it gave you headaches and shit.
Right. But I would think that if that were the case, then wouldn't it happen every time she went down there? Maybe, maybe not.
Did she say it was rare or every time she went down?
She said it only happened 3 times. And I don't know. She worked there. So that's why I was like, maybe there is something to that. But she said it was 3 times within, wait, did I write that down? 3 times? Oh, in that month alone. Oh, so it could have been more than 3 times.
Maybe that month happened to be like her 9th week of pregnancy, which tends to be the one where you start feeling the sickest.
Well, she said she was
Oh,
6
sorry,
months
Nash.
pregnant.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, she was 6 months along.
Yeah. That's
Anyway.
weird.
So we now learn of a friendly little boy named Jack who waves at people and tugs on their coats, holds people's hands, and throws stones. But based on Mel's research, it sounds like Jack may be a compilation of a bunch of the little kids that are down there. So Nicola says she's seen Jack before herself in the wine vault, leaning on his elbows, which is just so cute. I just picture like this little kid with his like hands in his palms, leaning on his elbows. Again, we see Mystery Lady with the pink jacket, and she tells us that a psychic told her that Jack's disappearance may be able to be traced back to the year 1810. He could be one of the unsolved missing person cases listed in Edinburgh during that period of time.
I mean, that would have been right after they built them.
Yeah.
1810.
I mean, that doesn't mean that something couldn't
No,
have happened,
I wonder if that was like the kids that went in and didn't come out.
Yeah. Zak tells us that there is one more ghost making his presence felt, the most evil spirit of all. Jody explains that the spirit is a tall man wearing a dark overcoat and big black boots. And because of these boots, they decided to call him Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots. So he's not a shadow person because he's got like clothes on.
Mr. Boots.
Mr.
Oh,
Boots.
I did good.
Ah, look at you.
Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots.
No, he's not a shadow. They said they saw his face and he had no eyes. They can describe what he's
shadow
wearing.
people don't wear boots.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Unless you want to.
Although, no, we've seen shadow people with hats on. What was it? Whiskey Pete's?
No,
a guy with a
Bobby
cowboy hat on?
Mackey's. It was Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah.
The cowboy ghost.
We've seen shadow people with hats on.
That was just Matt with his cowboy hat watching them.
We finally learn what Lady in the Pink Coat's name is. After all of these references, they finally decide to let us know that her name is Ray McGee. And I love that her name is Ray, R-A-E.
It's a pretty name.
Yeah. Ray, I'm sorry that they waited so long to give you a credit, especially because she was very like theatrical and like expressive. And I'm like, man, you should have credited her like first thing. She says they think he was a slumlord who lived in the vaults at the turn of the 19th century. He's often described as having a leering grin, no eyes. Ray says to Zak, "How do I know? I've seen this." Zak says, "You're creeping me out." Jody says that Mr. Boots does not like them being down in the vaults at all. Ray says that there are 2 words he tends to shout. Get out, get out, get out.
Get out, get out, get out. I'm kidding.
That's Canadian.
I'm sorry. That's my trigger word for Canadian is oot, oot, and a boot.
Zak jumps back. These are the 2 most common words. Ray has to be in theater or something in addition to being a guide because her theatrics are off the charts. Jody says there is not a chance that Mr. Boots is going to be happy that they are locked down there. Zak says, "Good. I'm going to make him even more mad. I want to make him so mad that he takes the biggest rocks that he could find and throw them at our heads."
Zak is such like a 7-year-old boy sometimes.
He really is. Jody says, "He might do worse." Jody appears to be the youngest out of all the guides and the cutest. And I definitely think
cute.
At this point, Zak was flirting with her.
He was very his body language was very leaned in. And also it looked like they were in a pub rather than
Yeah.
the
In
vault tour
the vault.
area. A lot of the pubs are they have some stone pubs.
Yeah.
It looked like a pub.
No, because she was sitting on a stool and everything.
Yeah.
But his attitude at this moment was like, "Look how big and strong I am. I ain't afraid of no ghost." And he was waiting for her to be like, "My God, you're such a masculine man. Can you save me? Can you protect me?" Ridiculous. Anyway, Jody explains that there was a lady down there who felt that she was violently pushed. There was no one standing behind her. There was a couple who saw it actually happen, and they say her face distorted into something that wasn't right when it happened. So I almost skipped over this whole part, but because you covered it in This Old Haunt, I will include it. The reason I almost skipped it is
Oh.
because they never really go back to this.
He shouldn't have called it a curse. He should have just like
Yeah.
set it up as like dark origins. Literally the day it opened, it began with death.
Right. Well, it made me laugh because in the Poltergeist episode, he's like, this is the first time that we've investigated a curse. And then he's like introducing this curse. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to investigate a curse here?
This is the back to you get
Yeah.
Native American curse.
Zak says that the townspeople believe that both the bridge and the vaults have been cursed. And then he explains that the whole thing Mel just said about the lady who was supposed to christen it that died. He does not tell us that she was the oldest person, which adds a little bit of context to the fact that she died.
Yeah,
Like-
I know.
And like he didn't say that part, so it just sounded like they chose this random lady and then she died.
Yeah.
So I was following him up until the point that the lady was supposed to christen it and then she died.
Do you think they smashed a bottle on her casket?
Okay, so this is where, to your point, this is where I started to get very confused because Zak said the townspeople kept their promise. So I was like, what promise? The
that
promise
she was gonna be the first to cross the bridge.
Yeah, but he didn't even explain that. He just said that she would christen it. So I was like, what? How is she christening it? Like, I didn't understand that you gave us the context that she was going to be the first to cross the bridge. That is very different than the first
Did I
person
even
to
call it christening? I can't even remember. If
I don't
called it
think
christening.
I don't think you use that terminology. And so I was like, what is he talking about? And then I was like, he continues, they put her body in a casket and shoved her over the bridge. And I was like, so was that their way of christening the bridge? They like dumped her body over the bridge? This is how I'm envisioning it based off of what he said.
So I did say christening. I think maybe christening is, I guess you only christen a boat with a bottle because I mean, this is a very different reference, but people say they need to christen the toilet, be the first.
Yeah.
I think christening literally means like be the first, like is it called your christening? Your baptism is also called a christening.
Yes, that's also called a christening. It's like the first time you're baptized.
What's
I don't
with
know
the
if
glass
you're
bottle.
Well, a boat, we usually you smash a bottle against. Anyway, the point is, Zak literally says they put her body in a casket and shoved her over the bridge. So I just pictured this lady's casket and her whole body like flinging across the bridge. And I was like, why would they do that to her?
Can you imagine if you're like, I'm the oldest lady? I can't do old and Scottish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, and so I'm
put
picturing
my blood
like
into this pound.
I was picturing like a 30 something year old woman in a casket that's just getting they're taking her casket and they were like, well, we promised you could christen the bridge, so we're just gonna dump you over the side.
Oh,
like
man.
very confusing. And then he says after that they say that this caused the curse that linked to all the black market deaths. I was like, okay, I follow that. Then he goes, the serial killers that killed between 20 and 40 people. I was like, when are you going to tell us about that piece of history? Because that did not come up so far. And then he continues with the disease that washed down with the rainwater, which totally makes sense. And I think they allude to it later on, but apparently after it rains, it takes 4 days for the water to seep down through the tunnels to the bottom.
Ew.
I know, that's nasty. They say that may have led to all that dark history. I think this whole piece was unnecessary and convoluted, and they never really go back to this curse, so I'm not sure why it was included, but okay. I liked Mel's version much more than that version, although my visual was fun.
Oh, Queen Victoria introduced the breaking the champagne bottle against the bow.
Okay, so we're finally getting into the actual vaults now. We see Zak joined by Des Brogan.
He's in Edinburgh.
He's in Edinburgh. He is the person who is the author and creator of the Marquette Tours. Both men are holding candles. Mel, would you like to get your candelabra out for this part?
Yeah, but that dude had like a dope
Okay,
candle.
so Des has a very smart looking torch. Des's torch is like clearly a metal basin that's holding oil in it. It's got light
It's
coming
a
out of
staff.
flame coming out of, and it's a
Like
staff.
a fucking staff.
Yeah. Zak, on the other hand, is holding a candelabra with 3
But like
candles.
a cool one. It's like a cool candle. Like it's way too classy of a candelabra for
It is a
Zak Bagans to be holding.
candelabra that should be sitting on a table, not being flung around by an American bro like Zak. And
Well,
I noted it because I had written, I was like, I'm waiting for that wax to drip on him. I'm just waiting for it.
Okay, so my first introduction to the word candelabra. So, you know the show The Soup?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is like
Joel
back-
McHale.
Yeah.
Joel McHale. Joel McHale.
Joel McHale taught you about candelabras.
Candelabra. So this was he was mocking the what was the show where they it was a reality show where they traveled around
Amazing Race.
Amazing
Race. The challenge was to find a candelabra.
Okay, so in the Amazing Race, when they give them their like their next clue or challenge,
The clue.
yes,
The clue
yes, okay,
was to find a candelabra. The guy had no idea what the fuck a candelabra was, so he was in a crowd, and he had to like go around, and they had cameras around, and he was like, "Are you a candelabra? Are you a candelabra? Are you a candelabra?" So like they had the cameras around following around this guy, and they had this like, so he just had no idea what a candelabra was.
right. He thought it was like a cobbler or
He thought it
like
was a person.
yeah, like a job. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
like an opera singer. Are you a candelabra?
So that was my first introduction to the word candelabra. You know, it's just like
I love that so much.
Yeah. So Zak explains that the vaults were discovered. He says discovered in 1990. And I was like, I thought that was 1988 because that's what you said earlier, Zak. But okay.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
Des took on the responsibility of going down into the vaults and doing all the research. So now Des is going to take them down into the vaults so that they can get the lay of the land before their lockdown. So Zak and Des head down the stairs with Nick and Aaron close behind. Des explains that you have to go through the old tenement buildings, which were built on the side of the vaults. They walk down this old stone staircase, and just to set the scene, like these are not, I know we've already kind of mentioned that these are rocks. You know, we love our rocks on this podcast.
They did a slapping rock thing in one of the promos.
At the very end.
End.
Yeah, Nick slaps the rocks. And I was like, oh, rock slapping.
4 of these rocks right here.
But these are all big old stones. And like
we should sell crystals like for merch and call them like
absolutely
rock, like
rockin' rocks
or something like slapping rocks.
You can buy a bundle of our slapping rocks.
We'll come up with a better name than that, but
it's like jumping beans.
yeah.
But yeah, so just to set the picture. So they walk through the tenement building, they're walking down the staircase. The staircase has stone walls on either side. And like Mel mentioned, the staircase itself is pretty narrow and steep. So we're heading down these stone steps, and Zak is saying he's imagining what it must have been like for the first person to rediscover the vaults. Des casually says, well, it was rather unpleasant. I don't know if he said it that way, but let's just pretend he did. Well, it was rather unpleasant. He explains that when you're going into places that human beings have not been in for 70, 80, or maybe even 100 years, and you're touching the past, when you go into these old rooms and you break open the walls, you don't know what's on the other side. I wish he would have like given us a little bit more insight on what was on the other side, because I feel like he didn't really go into detail there.
Yeah.
Zak excitedly says, it's almost like that energy has been condensed in here. And once that seal has been broken, maybe this is an explanation for a lot of the stuff going on.
When he said the seal has been broken, I was like, he loves when seals are broken.
He loves a good like toilet reference.
Yes, a toilet reference. And also like the Rispin Mansion was the same thing where he's like, it was like a gun about to explode.
Mm-hmm.
So Des agrees. He says what we're doing is disturbing whatever has lain on the other side of the walls. Zak tells us how damp and musty smelling the vaults are. And So you guys are just going to learn about one of my fun, intrusive thoughts. So I cannot watch anything that takes place prior to like the 1960s without constantly thinking about how bad people smell.
That is a struggle for me too. And like, where did they use the bathroom? Like, I'm just like chamber pots.
Yes, chamber pots.
They would
people
stand
that
up.
There was the people that they had the little in the buildings where it would be like a castle, and it would have the edge that would stick out, and they would literally just shit and it would just fall down onto the street.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I just think about how bad people smelled.
And their teeth.
They bathed once a year.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm like, so like, oh, it smelled like nothing. You know? like no smell-o-vision over here.
Versailles had like really bad
in my-
hygiene.
Yeah. So
Marie Antoinette brought bathing to Versailles.
Yeah.
People would just like shit in fireplace areas or like pee in fireplace areas. And she started getting like women to wear these little funnel things under their skirts to
Are you serious?
whatever. And then
Yeah.
like they installed toilets in the palace because of her.
But people smelled really bad, and especially down in these tunnels that were like damp and musty and gross. All I could think about was, because we're talking about high society people. The people in the tunnels were not high society, so those are people who are not bathing, and like, ugh, and all that smell is just trapped down there. There's no cross breeze. Anyway, sorry for everybody who's listening.
Okay, I have a confession.
Oh God. Related to this? Please, Lauren, please tell us you don't shit in fireplaces.
I don't. I actually don't get BO.
Okay.
No.
But people say, like Matthew McConaughey apparently says that.
No, I don't actually get BO. I've never had to buy deodorant before. It's because I'm part Asian. I've never had BO before.
What?
In my life, like ever.
Do Asian people not get BO? Is that like a thing?
It is a thing.
Yeah.
The thing.
Okay, if you are somebody who does not get BO, let us know, because
Matthew
really
McConaughey,
know.
now's your time. Come on the show.
And if you happen to be Asian and you don't get BO, let us know as well, because I never heard that before, but that's fascinating. I wonder why that would be. Like, you've never developed sweat glands? Do you get sweaty?
Well, you would sweat, but it just doesn't
get
smell. You don't have like the chemical or whatever that makes it smell.
Yeah, I get sweaty. I don't get BO.
I'm so jealous.
I have another confession.
Okay.
I think I gave my little sister all my BO.
Oh
genes.
no.
That's hilarious.
That is so funny.
Like, I don't have any of them, but she's got all of them.
So wait, Olivia has them?
Yeah.
Does Chelsea have?
Chelsea gets it. My mom gets it. Olivia gets it. I don't have any of it. It's so weird.
Is it from your mom's side or your dad's side?
My mom.
Oh wow.
It's bizarre. I have not bought one stick of deodorant. It's just the most bizarre thing.
That's not fair. So Zak tells us how the low ceilings and narrow corridors make the atmosphere oppressive. I'm a little worried for Aaron because this place does not seem to have been made for somebody his size. Poor Aaron. They always squeeze him into these sticky situations. So they walk into a cavern, and Des says, "This is one of the most unpleasant rooms." To which Zak immediately says, "There's a very weird feeling in here." I love when somebody says something leading, and Zak immediately is like,
jumps on it.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this is where I'm supposed to feel weird? I feel weird."
Yeah.
Thank you, Zak.
I did also feel like in this episode, like Nick was like majorly acting.
Nick was a little cringy in this episode.
Yeah. And he's like, him and Zak are doing this weird like battle of the boldest, like, I want to talk.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Which, you know what? I don't blame Nick, because I feel like Nick is probably trying to like kind of mark his territory a little bit, where he's like, Zak, you get to say everything. Let me say something, for God's sake.
Yeah. Like, stop shushing me.
That is actually a good point, because he is like so in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both the investigators. I bet it was like, okay, we'll do this show. I'll narrate. I'll be the narrator and we both investigate. And by narrating, he just kind of took over.
I wonder if this is like the moment where they're like fighting over like who's in the spotlight.
This might be where it started.
Yeah.
So we'll see as it continues. The problem is that Zak's just great for TV. He's
Yeah.
big personality. He's
Yeah.
dramatic.
And insufferable.
Nick seemed like annoying in a not fun way.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and you love to hate Zak.
Yeah, there's just something so lovably
Hateable.
naive and
and Zak
hateable,
can
just-
still he still pokes fun at himself.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Nick is forgettable.
That's so sad
You
to say,
know?
but it's true.
Oh, buddy.
I mean,
yeah.
Nick has his own show, and I've never been interested in watching it.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's just not very funny. Not that Zak's super funny, but he's
not a
got
person.
this-
He's not a personality.
no, he's not a personality. He's
Yeah.
not. But yeah.
So we now learn that this is Mr. Boots' room that they're in. That feels odd and weird and spooky. Apparently, Mr. Boots does not like any light in this room, and if anyone ever shines light on his face, he goes berserk.
Mhm.
Zak asks if that's why they're carrying candles. Des says that's exactly right.
But they're carrying candles as they're shining light from their cameras.
Yeah, that seemed so dumb to me. Like he doesn't like
Yeah.
light, so he brought candles.
Yeah.
But they're
So
also
you brought
shining
the
light.
'cause
light that they
no,
were used to.
I'm like, what's the light from then?
You're totally right, because they weren't lit by the candlelight.
Yeah. I was
I need
like,
to go back and watch, because now that you're saying that, I'm like, it didn't even occur to me that they had the flat, like the flash on the cameras, or the light on the cameras.
yeah. I was like, they're
Mhm.
lit by the cameras.
But anyway, I don't know. I guess that's why they use candlelight, or that's what they tell people. He says the reason that he's unhappy about us being here is that in the left side corner of the room, there is a body of a young girl. They believe it to be a young prostitute. Sorry, this is their words, not mine. So they're saying that this is why Mr. Boots murdered her, and that's why he doesn't want anybody down there.
But
I
we
would-
don't know who Mr. Boots is.
We don't know like his true identity. We also don't know the true identity of this supposed body that was found. Mel did not find any record of a body being found.
I'm sure there was a body there.
but
but-
how do we not know? Like, how do we know it wasn't like his wife or his girlfriend or like his daughter, and that's why he hates when people go in
We
there.
also don't know who Mr. Boots is. They nicknamed this spirit Mr. Boots. So like how the
Yeah.
hell do you know who this person is to know that that person killed somebody here?
And
Exactly.
how old is this spirit?
Yeah,
You know, like for them to like randomly name this Mr. Boots guy, like,
well, and yeah, they're just naming him based off of what he looks like to them. But then the relation to the body that supposedly was found, there's just a lot of loose ends. And I don't know how they knew she was a prostitute or a sex worker. Okay. So Zak is stunned. He says, they found a body of a girl down here. Des says, what's amazing is that if you bring a group of 20 people into this room, it happens every time. As they crowd in, they all avoid the left side corner because of the atmosphere. So Zak feels that this is the perfect opportunity to say something to Mr. Boots. He says, Mr. Boots, if you can hear my voice, I just want to let you know that myself, Aaron, and Nick, we're going to be locked down in here with you for an entire night, for a good 12 hours. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to sit in this corner. And if you don't like us here, I want you to come over, make your presence, and do whatever you want to do to me. He does follow that with to tell me to leave, but always telling them, do whatever you want to do to me. Like, come over here and do it to me every time. And I'm like, there's so many sexual innuendos, Zak. Why?
also, I love how the guy who's like, oh, no one's ever done that. Yeah, because that's fucking stupid. Because it's just like a stupid thing to do.
Nick suddenly speaks up and says, I'm sorry, but I just saw somebody walk right by here. He shows how someone walked by from one side of the walkway to the other. Aaron chimes in with, whoa, I just heard a Zak asks Des if this happens a lot, and he admits, we do a lot of walkthroughs, and this doesn't usually happen. But I'm like, I feel like
you just provoked him, so of course.
But I also felt like Nick and Aaron were just being like as soon as Nick says he feels something, Aaron always chimes in with like a, whoa, I felt that too, or whoa, I feel this. And I was like, did you really just see somebody, or are you just like doing that for the camera, Nick? And is Aaron just following your lead? We'll see. So he says this doesn't usually happen. And Des says, well, this happens here. He adds, I suspect that it's happened because you just issued a challenge to Mr. Boots in that room. Nobody has ever done that before. Aaron laughs and says, whoa, dude. Des goes on to explain that people who are in there are usually happy to get out of there as quickly as they can. They don't say, look, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to sleep in that corner. You've issued that challenge, and I think it sets things going. They now walk over to a double vaulted room. Des says, well, this is one of the places where we know that people will be listening to a story and a child's hand will suddenly be felt in your hand.
Yeah, but you got to talk about the ghost dog.
They start calling, when they later in the episode, they call it the White Room. And I was like, when did that name come up? So after they talk about Jack, they then learn about the shaggy dog. So they enter another vault where Des explains that there is a shaggy dog ghost that runs around. You'll feel him rub against you and then hear him, 4 paws, scampering away in the distance. So they move on to the cobbler's room. For those who don't know, this is not a hobbler. This is not hobbling.
There are no ankle breakings.
There's
Just
no ankle breakings.
Shoe welding.
A cobbler is a shoemaker or a shoe repair person. It's a very nice job.
Mm-hmm.
So Des,
like a haberdashery.
A haberdashery, which is what, a hat maker? Right?
Yeah, a hat store.
Okay, that sounds right.
3.
It's like one of my favorite words, haberdashery. It's fun to say.
So Des explains that they know a cobbler lived and worked there, and that there is one corner. I wish they would have explained how. I'm assuming that they found like his things down there. That's my guess. But
yeah, or like they did say, like when they were used as shops, I'm sure there was a map at some point or some sort of like rent agreement that had like a cobbler as one of the businesses before they abandoned.
I'd be super interested in seeing this book that he authored, because I would love to know more about like how they found all of this out. So he lived and worked there, and that there is one corner of the room where he had died. Again, groups.
How do you know that? Like, how the fuck do you know that?
I mean, unless they found him and found him down there.
Where's the proof?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to know all of that. Okay. Again, groups come into the room and have said to have seen the face of the cobbler smiling at them from that corner. So they know that he is happy that they are there. However, just across in the opposite corner, the guide can be standing here telling a group story, and suddenly behind the group will appear the face of a woman who is obviously not happy that they are there. But she doesn't just stand there and do nothing. If there's somebody standing there and she appears behind them, she will push them. This is also the place where pregnant women don't feel comfortable. They feel very unhappy.
So the cobbler is a nice dude and this lady's like PO.
Yeah. And I'm like, is she like the cobbler's wife or something? Like, why were they sharing the same chamber?
Also, I'm like, how many feet underground are they at this point?
I guess we don't really know. There are layers. I don't think we know.
They do
necessarily,
say
right?
once they get into the actual investigation and they're in this area, they say that there are 4 stories underground.
Like 40 feet.
I
Maybe.
guess, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So-
other than the like double vault, which maybe is another 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 80 feet. So double
No.
vault per story or what?
Actually,
No,
I'm looking at
because you
this
have to look at the
diagram.
diagram, yeah. Because some of the double vaults take like there could be 2 vaults and then a double vault in between them.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like an inverted pyramid. So if you have the street level, it's like the vaults are like an inverted pyramid. So it starts with like 1, and then it's 2, and then it's 3, and then the highest it gets is 1, 2, 4.
Yeah.
But like the double vault will take up 2 of those.
Mm.
Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Zak says, I love this place. And then Aaron interrupts to say, do you have a haze on him? I think he's asking Nick this. He explains that Zak appears like he's in a blur right now on the camera. And we do see this. It
Yeah.
looks like Zak has gotten very hazy, but it's just, I said, is it just because of the mustiness and the candlelight? Like, to me,
Humidity.
Yeah, I wrote down, Laura, you're our camera girl. What do you think of for the haze?
I think it's just the humidity. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's probably just like the humidity in the air, you know?
Mm.
I mean, I'm just like the atmosphere.
Mel was right. His face was glowing. It was the candlelight itself, but also his head. Both were glowing. But I also was like,
I think we're like dismissing atmosphere alone.
Yeah, but they showed like someone else walked into the frame and it wasn't around them.
Mhm.
Oh.
I do think there's a logical explanation for it. I just don't.
Well, they do show Nick's camera angle, and Nick's camera does not have it. So whatever it was,
Listen, there could have been a film on his camera.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's just blurred, like a smudge on it, only where
Smudge
Aaron
on
was.
his camera.
Not Aaron,
Like
yeah.
there could have been so many factors.
that's what the haze looked like. It looked like
there-
you needed to
there's-
wipe the lens
There were
off.
so many environmental factors that were going on. It didn't look paranormal at all. It was totally environmental.
But then, so they make this big deal about the glow appearing in the candlelight. But now it gets interesting because Aaron's camera just shuts off in the middle of this conversation. And the audio is still running. But the camera itself shut off. So Nick is filming Aaron and Zak trying to troubleshoot what just happened. They finished their preliminary explore, and I noticed that during the camera debacle, Zak forgot he was holding a candelabra. He lost one of his candles, and the wax is now dripping everywhere. He actually looks down at his shoes at one point, and I was like, oh, I bet you he dripped wax on his shoes. And I was like, it was they don't show his shoes, but you could tell he was like looking down like, oh shit. I dripped candle wax everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was only a matter of time before Zak had dripped all the candles. So they leave the vaults and head back up to the streets. Zak starts asking random people on the streets if they've heard about the vaults and whether or not they're haunted.
This is why people don't like Americans right here.
I know.
We're
like
apologize.
so just like boisterous and just
Hey,
like,
how you doing? You think this place is haunted?
If I was standing next to him, I would be like, I'm from Canada. I'm not with him.
Yeah.
I do not associate with.
One couple he asks, both have super, super thick accents. I imagine this is what people from other countries hear when they hear somebody from like rural Georgia speak.
Yeah, probably.
So they give us subtitles for them because you couldn't necessarily hear what they were saying. But it sounds like they end up saying Mary, Queen of Scots, is down there and she's a ghost with no head. I was like, wait, what?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. For one, there is no freaking way Mary, Queen of Scots, has anything to do with these fucking
No, Mel.
vaults. It was centuries before.
These people had no idea what they were talking. I was like, I think they might have been tweakers. Like these were not like when the way they were saying it. I feel like even Zach was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, that has nothing to do with this."
Hey, Mary Queen of Scots didn't die in Scotland. She was executed in England, and she's buried in England. And if there were ever a place she were going to
your
haunt,
knowledge, first of all.
thank you. If there was ever a place she was going to haunt, it would be England, because she was pissed off for being held
But
captive
also-
most of her life. And if she wanted to be happy, she would be in France, where
But also,
her husband was, and where
okay.
she lived.
all of that aside, why would the Queen of Scots be haunting the slums? Like,
Well, why not?
it just doesn't like there's no correlation between the two. None of it made sense, and I was like, these two don't know what they're talking. But they were so adamant. They were like, "Mary Queen of Scots, Mary Queen of Scots. She's got no head." Anyway, okay. So the psychic lady that was in the beginning tells Zach that she suggests that before he wanders around below ground at night, they should wander around above ground at night after midnight, especially a few of the graveyards. I don't think they have enough time to do all of that. So now they're frantically trying to get over to the graveyard before dusk falls because they have their lockdown tonight. So they decide to go explore one of the most haunted cemeteries in the world, Greyfriars Cemetery, which Mel mentioned that she's been there, and it has the names of people that inspired
Potter?
the names of Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
so there's like Tom Riddle is on a tombstone, I think, like Peter Pettigrew maybe, or there are certain names you can look it up. So we went and literally like just went in there and like read all the tombstones to try to find him. Tom Riddle had like a line, but back where Tom Riddle was a creepier part of the cemetery. Like it was really cool and beautiful. But we were there until like sunset, but that side was like eerie, but I don't know, it was just eerie. Like they're above ground, they're like mausoleums and stuff. So I had no idea it was haunted.
I was surprised that they.
I mean, aren't all cemeteries haunted?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, it was an old cemetery.
But this is supposed to be like one of the most haunted. But I was surprised that this didn't come up in their research. Like they acted shocked, and I'm like, you were going all the way across the world. You'd think you would maybe like do a little bit more research than just the vaults. I don't know. It's weird to me. Chris Akari, who was some random person on the street, told them that when he was there, he was on a ghost tour at the cemetery, and that he had a massive attack feeling like a hot piercing in his chest, which to me, I was like, was he on drugs? That was my very first question. Like,
Probably.
What could he have been on? Because he was like,
oh, this is the cool guy.
Yes. Like, yeah, he had on
With
like
a
leather.
septum.
He had a septum piercing, he had a trench coat,
He had
leather
fingerless gloves.
fingerless gloves.
This is where I think it started.
Yeah.
I forgot I wrote that
Oh,
out.
you think? You
Yeah, I was like,
fingerless
oh my
gloves?
God, is this the cool guy that Zach wants to be?
This is where Zach found the fingerless gloves.
Yeah.
It was in
The
Edinburgh.
inspo.
It's where it's from.
But he said he had a feeling like a hot piercing in his chest. He had no idea what was going on because he blacked out and he was convulsing on the floor. He got rushed out in an ambulance. So that's very dramatic. Chris tells Zach that he believes that this is the Mackenzie Poltergeist that attacked him. So that, I guess, is what made, like, I think they wanted to go to the cemetery after they heard about it, but then this was like, gave them something to look for. So they were like, oh, we got to go find George Mackenzie's like grave
Ghost.
or whatever.
Yeah. It just felt a little like like they should have done just a smidge more
Yeah.
in the cemetery. It was just like, here's this dude's grave.
It was the
And
same with
he like fell through. It was weird.
it was the same with the curse. It was like they added these
Yeah.
two things in that then they never went back to. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it would have been interesting if they could have done a better job of tying
Yeah.
them together.
Which I bet they shot all of that before the lockdown. And then they like got so much in the lockdown and the edit. They were like, let's just cut all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny.
It's so funny when you like shoot all these things and then in the edit, it's just
Yeah.
like everything changes.
hurts.
Yeah,
inside.
I would
That's
wish-
why director's cuts exist.
I
wish
know.
we knew how many days they were actually there, because I got the impression that it was like very fast.
So I think I read on Reddit, somebody was asking if anybody had experienced, like, been on one of the productions, and a few people had their like houses on the show, and one guy said they were there for 3 days. Zach was only there for 2, or maybe it was even 1, and he only filmed for like 3 hours total each day or something.
But that was that for one of the newer episodes?
It was, well, what do you consider newer?
I'm just wondering, because this was
We're talking about OG.
this is the first season. I'm just saying in Edinburgh, I feel like they were only there for like 2 to 3 days max. And so they were trying to like
'Cause these
capture
new-
footage and squeeze
new-
everything in.
These new seasons are like 2.
Not even new season. I mean, it
Yeah.
could have been like season 15 and they're going to do things differently.
Yeah, all I
than
know was
season
that
1.
it was his house, the dude's house.
Yeah.
And he like said he made it like way scarier, and like he overheard some of the stuff Zach was saying, and it was all like made up or dramatized.
He took creative liberties.
Yeah, and he said like they were really he didn't have a good experience, was my
Really?
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
At all. It was funny watching them look for this place though, because it suddenly occurred to me that they didn't have Google Maps or like Apple Maps to look at.
Do you think they printed out MapQuest?
Right. Well, they were asking people on the street, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you had to ask people on the street like how to get somewhere, because they didn't have something to look at.
Yeah.
There are like signs though pointing you to the like Greyfriars.
Yeah,
or Greyfriars.
They did eventually stumble on like the I don't know, the street signs, but yeah, that would make sense if it's a big tourist attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they were probably dramatizing it. So they finally get to Greyfriars and they start exploring. The guys are in awe of all the things they see. There's a skull and crossbones, like a sculpture in a tombstone, and it clearly has melted wax coming out of its eyeballs. And Zach's like, "Oh my god, what's
the eyeballs!"
like,
Or even it's
yeah.
like I thought it was like white spray paint. I'm like, someone clearly put that.
I thought it was just like bird shit.
It
Really, a really creative like Banksy bird.
Yeah.
yeah.
Decided to shit in 2 eyeballs.
It looked like somebody stuck 2 candles in there and they melted, and like they were trying to make it look scary, but he's so dramatic.
I love how like excited he got though. He's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. So they walk through this old cemetery full of mausoleums and find the one of George Mackenzie, the person that Chris believed attacked him. So they zoom in on the tomb, which has metal gates on it, and you can see through. Zach explained
That part was painful from a production standpoint because the focus wasn't working.
Oh, was it racking?
And it wasn't
trying to rack the focus.
It was racking, and also like nothing was lit in the mausoleum, so you couldn't see any. So it was just like you saw like a grid.
Yeah. So they see these metal gates to this mausoleum tomb thing. The metal gates, you can see through them, but we can't actually see through them because the camera is racking and because it's dark in there. So they're acting like we should be able to see something that we do not see. Zach explains that within this tomb, when you look through those gates, there is a metal grate that then supposedly goes down like flights.
The dude fell through
multiple flights. Yeah. And so a homeless guy supposedly broke in and fell down these flights of space and through a second gate and fell into a bunch of old skin, a pile of bones. And when he looked up, he said he saw a black figure come in and attack him. Zach,
and this is the story, not the cool dude with the finger gloves.
this is
legend.
different. The cool dude with the finger gloves got taken out in an ambulance, but then this is the legend. He thinks that the Mackenzie Poltergeist did this to him. I guess this now with the homeless man or unhoused man is...
Or a local teenager, depending on who you
Or
ask.
a local teenager. This, I guess, is also supposed to be the Mackenzie Poltergeist. This black figure that came in and attacked him. Also, how nasty. Why would there be a bunch of old skin in a pile of bones?
Well, do you think because it's a mausoleum, they built over existing graves?
Probably.
Or is it like more like bodies in the family that they built? It could be one or
It could.
But I don't know why you'd build. But there was a grate over it, which makes me think like they were aware of it
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
I
some
don't know.
way.
I don't think they ever thought anybody was going to fall through it. I don't think that was
Yeah.
part of the plan to have anybody find out what was going on down there.
Some like old like mechanic was like, let me
I'm just gonna
loosen this screw a little bit here at just the right time. My moment will come.
And that was the black figure standing over.
He's like, my prank.
It worked. So Zak claims that this was an actual documented story here in Edinburgh that they learned about. So I don't know. I think that was all made up. But yeah, so that is it for part 1 of Ghost Adventures Season 1, Episode 7, the Edinburgh Vaults.
Edinburgh.
You did a great job calling it Edinburgh. Like
With Mr.
most
Bates.
of the time.
Thank you.
Mr. Boots.
Mr. Bates. Oh, and Braveheart is the movie that I've been like thinking about.
Oh, Scottish.
Not the Highlander.
No. Okay, Braveheart, and then also So I Married an Axe Murderer. Those are the 2 movies.
So you guys have some homework to do. Go watch Braveheart and I Married an Axe Murderer.
I read like all of the Outlander books and then watched the shows. So, which will come in and be like, "How do you know what they're saying?" And I was like,
And I guess we
I've
should
actually
also,
gotten really good at understanding.
if you want full context for this episode, you should probably also go watch Harry Potter. You should watch The Great, Mary Queen of Scots. But we hope you guys have enjoyed this part. If you are enjoying what you're listening to, please rate, review, and subscribe. And please join us on Wednesday for part 2 of this, where we get into the lockdown with the guys.
And Mr. Bates.
Yeah, learn a little bit more about Mr. Boots.
Mr. Bates.
And again, apologies to all the lovely people of Scotland and Ireland and anywhere else I attempted to do an accent. And Canada, that came up randomly. Apologies.
So many apologies to all of our friends and listeners abroad.
Yes.
And here in America, just apologies to everybody.
Yeah.
To sex workers, we're sorry.
We're sorry.
Sorry.
We're sorry.
We're so
We're
sorry.
doing our best, we promise.
But until next time.
See you in the shadows.
See you in the shadowy vaults.
See you in the shadows.
See you in the spooky shadow.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.